Well, welcome back. How is your ABT coming together? Hey, you may have noticed that this whole course is built around an ABT. That's right, you can use the ABT structure to create very compelling presentations. For instance, in session 1, I set the stage in asking the question, what is the ABT and how do you wield it to dramatically increase your sales success? Now, it's an opportunistic statement of agreement that focused your learning on your desired outcome, sales growth. Then, in session 2, I filled it with contradiction to create tension. Asking you how are you going to sharpen your narrative hook, that the ABT is actually harder to master than it appears. Therefore, in this third session, you must understand the magic of the ABT to cast its spell. But even that's not enough to become an ABT Jedi Master. Therefore, you'll need to practice, practice, practice. A couple weeks ago, I taught legendary Silicon Valley marketer Christopher Lochhead about the ABT when I was on his podcast. He was kind of blown away by it but wanted to test it. So the next day, he posted this tweet. Check it out. Most entrepreneurs would love to design a new category and build a billion-dollar business. But there is so much startup bullshit on Twitter, it's hard to know who to listen to. Therefore, meet David Sachs. He knows a few things. And the best part, Christopher's tweet had 60,000 plus interactions. Amazing. Coincidence? You be the judge. Now, I learned about the ABT 10 years ago from my good friend, Harvard PhD evolutionary biologist turned Hollywood filmmaker, Dr. Randy Olson. He teaches it to the science world, and I immediately recognized the power and the purpose of the ABT in selling when I learned about it in his second book called Connection. You can learn even more about it on my episode number 293 on my podcast, The Business of Story. But here's the cool part. The ABT has been around since the beginning of recorded storytelling, showing up in such surprising places like the Bible, in nursery rhymes, the Gettysburg Address, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, the front page of the New York Times, NPR, my book, Brand Bewitchery, pop music, and even in South Park.
I'm going down south, I'm gonna have myself a time.
Let's go to the writer's room and hear from Trey Parker how they use the but-therefore dynamic.
South Park has been so successful over the years, not only because their episodes contain satire, but because their episodes contain proper story structure. The rule that Trey and Matt use in their writer's room is called the but-therefore rule.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words and then belong between those beats, you're f***ed. Between every beat that you've written down is either the word therefore or but. Should be this happens, and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens. You get a show that feels like, okay, this to that, to this to that, but this, here's the complication, to that.
Now that you know the secret sauce of the ABT, you are going to see it everywhere. And it's everywhere because it works. The same problem-solution dynamic that protected our ancestors from those scary saber-toothed tigers and compelled millions to follow MLK in the mall that day is the same human reason the ABT will work for you to drive your prospects and customers from aspiration to action. So are you stuck trying to craft a compelling email or proposal? Use the ABT. Are you frustrated by your prospect's lack of urgency in adopting your solution? Use the ABT. Are you bored out of your mind by the structure of your sales process? Bring it to life with an ABT. Trying to become a better and more present listener? The ABT is the perfect story listening tool. Annoyed by surface level response when trying to get to the heart of your customer's challenges? Yep, the ABT is awesome here as well. Struggling to communicate in a way that people really listen, internally and externally? You guessed it. Use the ABT to connect on a primal level. The good news is you are already an intuitive storyteller. You're a human. But I want you to evolve into a strategically intentional storyteller to help your sales excel through the stories you tell. But knowing how to craft an ABT is not enough to become a Jedi Master at it. You have to practice, practice, practice using this storytelling dumbbell. Here's the first thing I want you to do. Write 3 emails today, starting with an ABT, and send your first one to me at park@businessofstory.com. I'll coach you on it, I promise. Then I want you to teach 2 people about the ABT because you don't know what you know until you teach it. Finally, craft 1 ABT for a significant sales call or presentation and brace yourself for an amazing response. If you'd like to learn more about the ABT in a special immersive session that will hone your skills, watch the next video and see where it can take you, your sales, and your career. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this very abbreviated ABT course. This is the foundation that you need to build your narrative intuition and all of your sales storytelling skills on top of that. If I can be of further service to you, you now have my email. Shoot me a note, park@businessofstory.com. And as you grow as a more confident and compelling communicator and grow your sales, remember that the most potent story you will ever tell is the story you tell yourself. So make it a great one. Thanks for being here, and you know what to do. Story on, my friend.